All right, welcome back to another SegWeather video looking at your forecast for your Sunday, July 19th of 2026. We're going to go ahead and dive into that real quickly, starting off first and foremost for watches and warnings this morning until it's the same spiel from yesterday with our air quality alert over much of the Midwest. Not so much Northeast, but definitely the Midwest as a jet stream that's pushed down to the south. And as it does, that will pull in some of those wildfire smoke conditions into especially Illinois and Indiana as we head throughout the course of your day today. Michigan and Wisconsin, you'll be dealing with that as well, and parts of New York and even to parts of Pennsylvania too, with surrounding areas also dealing with that as well. And then parts of the West Coast could see that occurring with eastern Washington, northern Idaho, and then parts of Washington underneath that air quality alert at this time as well. And then elsewhere, heat advisories from stretching from northern Nevada into Idaho, and then another area from North Dakota and stretching down towards deep south. So quite a hot and steamy day, and then even parts of the southeast coast you can see a heat advisory as well, with Phoenix values exceeding 100 degrees with those hot temperatures later on this afternoon and into this evening. Now, looking at your excessive rainfall outlook for today, looking at a slight risk for excessive rainfall, especially across the southwest, which has been our hotspot the last several days with that ongoing monsoon occurring with that rainfall. And then around the southeast coast, as some strong storms will be moving through these areas throughout the course of the day. It could dump quite a bit of rainfall in these areas, especially the strongest storms later on today. Now, looking at our wildfire smoke and haze conditions, looking at that looking quite expansive across again the west coast towards east coast, looking at again a wide area for this occurring due to that jet stream being overhead. And a closer look at later this evening, you can see where that smoke will be quite thick. Anywhere in the reds and even pinks is where it's going to be the highest. Looking at that, quite significant. Meanwhile, down here in places like Indiana, you will see those smoky, hazy skies, but not as much as compared to with Wisconsin or even with Montana. Look at maybe some yellowish, slightly turning orange skies, but you would notice that more towards later on in the evening as that sun does begin to set by then. So watching that very closely for you guys as well. But in terms of temperatures today, looking at a cooler Midwest as due to that cold front moving through late last night, those temperatures will be a bit on the cooler side. Temperatures in the 70s to lower 80s for much of the Midwest. Meanwhile, in the plains, temperatures reaching the hundreds again as a new heat dome begins to take shape, and then down towards the parts of the southern plains, temperatures in the upper 90s, nearing 100 in these areas. Hence why we have that heat advisory taking place for some of these places, and then temperatures in 90s across the deep south as well. But the Rockies looking a little cooler, the showers and storms ongoing, temperatures in the 70s to 90s. The Southwest temperatures reaching 110 degrees across extreme southeastern California and extreme southwestern Arizona as well. So a hot day for much of the country, minus again the Northeast will be quite cooler due to that cold front that moved through late last night. Now, looking at your severe threat for today, we're not looking at a higher threat as compared to yesterday, but looking at a lower threat as the same line of storms that did bring that severe weather across much of the Midwest and Northeast yesterday will be down here towards parts of the Southeast, bringing in some strong storms this afternoon into this evening. A slight risk for these areas, and same thing for the upper plains as a new system comes in to the country, looking at a slight risk for you guys with a marginal risk extending down towards Wisconsin as well. And in terms of the threats to watch out for, tornado threat doesn't look to be bad at all, as we're looking at less than a 2% chance, but can't rule out a brief spinning tornado. But other than that, damaging wind threat looks to be a bit higher. Looking at that more significant up here towards the upper plains with that newer system. Looking at a hatched risk for some strong wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. Meanwhile, in the southeast, looking at wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour of the strongest storms as well. And then the hill risk, same thing, quite significant up towards upper plains, looking at potentially about 1 inch hail, if not greater, of the strongest storms in these areas. maybe close to be a small size hail as well. But looking at your weather models as you progress throughout your day today, looking at this afternoon and going to tomorrow morning, you'll see those showers and storms ongoing in the Rockies. Some of the activity up here in the upper plains with those strong storms as well, and then you see that run of strong storms up here towards North Carolina and South Carolina, and then some showers and storms here in Florida. More on this, as this is really important as of right now. But looking at a closer view of the storms up here in the upper plains, you can see the storms will develop more in a scattered fashion, so higher chance of the storms to actually intensify and maybe even produce in large hail, damaging winds, and maybe even a brief spin up tornado in those areas. Meanwhile, for areas here from Virginia stretching down towards South Carolina, looking at some scattered showers and storms ongoing. Damaging wind gusts being the main threat with these storms overall as you progress throughout your day today. Now we move on to the hurricane outlook. As unfortunately, as of this morning, we have a tropical depression that has developed just west of Florida. As I did say in yesterday's video, that there is potential for it to develop into a tropical storm by as early as even today, and unfortunately, that has come to fruition with this tropical depression here, which they named it Tropical Depression 2, which could become Tropical Storm Berta very soon, as I'll show you in this little bit. But here are the models as of this morning, showing the system potentially intensifying a little bit more from Sunday into Tuesday. And at this time, it does appear that it's starting to move away from Florida over the next couple of days, as originally the models just had the system just sitting over Florida for a couple of days, but now this current model setup is showing it moving away from Florida over the next couple of days. And it's not just the models that are seeing that, but the National Alert Service is also seeing that. And at this time, they have issued, this is as of this morning, it may have changed a little bit, but they're showing a track with the system eventually turning into a tropical storm, indicated with the S over here that indicates tropical storm potential by late this evening, and then seeing the storm slowly moving towards the west, towards the Gulf Coast, eventually reaching around Louisiana by Thursday morning. Could potentially make initial landfall at this time. Again, a lot can change between now and then, this also shows the system moving towards Texas, southeast Texas, by Friday morning as a tropical storm. And if this does verify, then this will bring quite a bit of rainfall to a lot of these areas. But the only inhibiting factor of this tropical storm system will be the heat dome, as right now the forecasters at the National Weather Service are already looking at that heat dome developing over here in parts of the Southwest. Even at this model, you can see it's the same exact thing. You see the dark reds over here indicating areas of higher than normal temperature anomalies. And at this time, this show ridge developing over the southwestern parts of the U.S. And if this does verify, with this system that's coming in from Florida going towards the coast, this high pressure ridge could rip the system apart, or even in different cases could potentially pull it out towards Alabama or Mississippi and make it landfall there. And considering that the heat ridge is sitting right over this area, so at this time, I wouldn't freak out now, as again, a lot can change between now and Tuesday and Wednesday as this tropical storm system continues to develop. But overall, we will be keeping a close eye on this, as it will potentially have impacts somewhere on land. We still know where yet this time, as again, even with the National Earth Service model, they could change it to being, let's say they push it out towards Mexico, or they push it out towards Alabama, or let's say this ridge does weaken, they push it out towards Texas. Again, anything can happen this time, so don't take stock in what you're seeing now, as again, a lot can change. But that's it for this update. Thank you for tuning in to this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of this content as well. Don't forget to stay weather alert today, and have a great Sunday.